Hi everyone, a year ago we reviewed the Anker SOLIX Solarbank 2 Pro on this YouTube channel. It's an all-in-one plug-and-play solar kit that allows you to produce and store energy. This 2 Pro version was mainly designed to save energy. But now, Anker SOLIX has just released the Solarbank 3 Pro, the new version that allows you to produce more, store more, and above all, brings a lot of new features that give us greater autonomy. Today, we're going to install this new system, compare it to the old one, and see how it differs. This will power my 116 square meter shipping container house. Let's begin. The system. Always works the same way, whether it's version 2 or version 3. We have the first component in mind, the solar bank, which is actually an inverter that can accommodate solar panels that you just have to plug directly into it. There is internal storage in this unit, but you can also add batteries underneath, battery extensions up to 5, to have a complete system that you just have to plug into a socket in your house to power it with electricity. It's truly plug and play, just connect the panels or battery and it works. The first big difference between these two versions is already the storage capacity. The Solarbank 2 Pro had an internal storage of 1600 Bic-ish, and you could add up to 5 batteries of 1600 Wh underneath to get a total storage of 9.6 kilowatts. With the Solarbank 3 Pro, you get 2688 Bh of internal storage, and you can add up to 5 batteries of 2688 Bh, which allows us to reach a total storage of 16.1 kW. And you can expand the system by installing up to 4 kits in parallel. That still gives us 70% storage. Also within the same battery size, the Solarbank is a little bit bigger, but the extension batteries are exactly the same size, which allows compatibility between the two systems. We can pair the 1600 Wh and 2688 Wh batteries for reuse. So there you have it. The new system doesn't replace the old one, it enhances it, it upgrades it. Since we have more storage, it seems obvious that we can have more production. Previously, we had 4 inputs for 4 solar panels supporting up to 2400 Wh. Now, the new version supports up to 3600 Wh, but on the side we still have just 4 inputs. That's because we can now connect 2 panels per input, so we have 8 panels here. 3600 watts of power, that's 50% more, and it still works. With any brand of panels, Anker sells solar panels on its website. But really, buy the ones that suit you best, reuse the ones you already have, it's compatible, and that's really great news. Another new feature regarding the inverter is that its power goes from 800 to 1200 Wh. This means we can power more devices at home. With increased production and storage, it's natural we can run more things. And above all, the inverter becomes bidirectional. That means we can not only send energy into the house, but we can also buy it from the grid. With a peak and off-peak rate plan, the battery can buy power during off-peak hours, store it, and use it during peak hours to save more money. The whole system is optimized thanks to Anker Intelligence, an artificial intelligence that automatically optimizes the system based on your habits, the weather, and the price of electricity. If the system predicts cloudy weather tomorrow, it will buy electricity at night during off-peak hours, so I can use it during peak hours the next day. On the other hand, if the weather forecast predicts sunshine, it won't buy anything and will wait to recharge naturally with the sun. There's constant optimization between using solar power or buying off-peak energy to avoid paying for energy during peak hours, and to optimize our savings. So this new version is really very interesting because it has more storage, it allows for more production, it can send more electricity into the house, and it can draw from the grid to recharge during off-peak hours. For example, it has advanced artificial intelligence features that allow us to optimize our consumption and production to help us save more. Plus, it's compatible with the old model for a smooth transition. So this new system is much more powerful, but it still doesn't allow us to be self-sufficient. For the simple reason that if you have a power outage, the system stops working. However, there's still a side outlet that powers household appliances up to 1200 watts. It's useful in a pinch, but it won't let you live off-grid. The system includes a 10-year warranty and a 6,000 cycle lifespan lasting about 15 years. The battery is IP65 rated and operates from -20 to +60 degrees, so you can install it outdoors without any problem. now that we've seen all the features of this new model compared to the old one, and we've seen that it's an interesting improvement. Well, let's go. We're going to install it on my house and start producing energy. Let's start the installation by choosing a location for our lithium iron phosphate battery. It's a very stable chemistry, so there's no major fire risk. The only thing that could happen is a risk of overheating. So if we put it against siding, for example, we'll try to install protective plates like the ones used for stoves. We can leave it outside because it's IP65 rated and handles temperatures from -20 to 60 degrees. That's what I was telling you earlier. So there you go. Here, I'll just need to protect my siding a bit, but otherwise this spot is good. For this test, I'll use the three 1600 WH batteries from my old Solarbank 2 Pro system. I added my 2688 WH battery and the new Solarbank 3 Pro with 2688 WHs. That gives me a total storage of 10.1 kWh. It's perfect for powering my house. And be careful, when you pair new products with old ones, make sure to put the new ones on top and the old ones on the bottom. Anker suggests this tip to improve system efficiency. 10 kWh of storage is what you need to store about 90% of what my 3680 WH will produce. Peak of solar panels today, the plug-and-play panels. Selling the surplus is tough, and finding suppliers to buy it back is also hard. So it's very important to have storage to make our installation profitable and not send our production back to the grid for free. Once the system is installed, it's very simple. I have an outlet that comes out here, I plug it into my house and it allows me to store and supply my house with electricity. I already have 6 panels from another brand on my roof, so I'll use them for this test. You notice the battery has just 4 inputs. So I have to connect the panels 2 by 2 with 4 cables to come down with only 4 cables and just plug them in. It's still plug and play. In the Solarbank, we don't have just one big inverter. We actually have 4 micro inverters. This allows us to do something very interesting, which is that we don't have to put all our solar panels in the same place. With a centralized inverter, all our panels are connected together. And if one of them produces a little less, it will lower the entire production. So it's important to put all the panels in the same place so they get the same amount of sunlight. With 4 small inverters, you can place 2 at the bottom and 6 at the top easily. Even if the 2 below start in shade, the top 6 will still produce at 100%. At day's end, if top producers do less, those at the bottom will do more. That's only possible if we have microinverters. This system, as I told you, can handle up to 3600 peak watts of solar panels. That's great, but the problem is that in France, if you install more than 3000 peak watts of solar panels, you absolutely have to get a consul. It's a legal requirement. The problem is that in France, the consul doesn't approve plug-and-play installations. So we're in a kind of legal gray area where theoretically we have to call in a professional, but the professional doesn't approve this kind of thing. To stay within the rules, install 1 less panel or use less powerful panels. To stay around 3000 watts, or maybe you go a little over. And honestly, I don't really know what could happen. Let me know in the comments. But anyway, I set it to 3680 watts, so I'm even beyond what the inverter can theoretically handle. But it's still technically and legally allowed. At worst, I unplug 1 panel and I'm at 3000. There you go, our solar panels produce electricity and our batteries store that electricity. And now the system needs to know the house's electricity consumption to send the right amount of energy to the grid. For that, we're going to install a smart meter in the electrical panel. We can either use the one from Anker or a Shelly, which is a brand that works with all kinds of products. It's really very easy to install. You look for a free spot in your electrical panel, you plug in the smart meter, and you install the ampere clamp around your main electrical supply. That tells you exactly how much your house draws from the grid and consumes. Finally, you power the smart meter by connecting it to the circuit breaker right next to it, and it works. And there you go, the system can now measure energy consumption and therefore send exactly what the house needs, up to 1200 watts. We also have the option to install smart plugs sold by Anker to measure the consumption of certain specific devices, like the fridge, for example. And that way we can make sure that our batteries will power these devices first. To sum up, if our house uses 1400 watts, for example, the battery will supply 1200 watts and will buy the remaining 200 watts from the grid. I told you this isn't a kit to be 100% self-sufficient, but with 1200 watts, we're already meeting a lot of needs. The physical installation is done. It was really simple, truly plug and play, worthy of the name. Now we can use the Anker app to connect and monitor everything. For example, here I see that my panels are producing about 2400 watts. They're working well. I see that my house is consuming about 200 watts. So same thing, I can track that thanks to the smart meter that's inside. I can also see that I have a part of the production from my solar panels. 2200 watts are used to recharge the batteries, and I have 200 watts that are sent inside to supply electricity. At the top right, I see I'm only buying 5 or 80 watts from the grid. It adapts. The system ensures I never buy electricity from the grid, though there are always minor adjustments of a few watts. And below, I can see that since I installed this system, so yesterday I had to redo the installation. So it reset all the numbers. But I've already saved €5, 20 kilos of carbon dioxide, and I've produced 20 kilowatt hours of electricity. I also have access below to a detailed history of my solar panels production. I can also see where this production is going. So we can see, for example, 56% of what I produced went into storage and 43% went directly into the house to power it, and only 0.75% was sent back to the grid, because my batteries were full. So there you go. Now I can know exactly if I need to buy another battery or not, if I'm sending too much back to the grid. For now, I'm good. I have the right amount. I also have a history of my house's consumption. So there you go. I can see that 18% of what my house consumed came from the battery storage. 7% came from what the panels produced, and 75% I bought from the grid. I'm far from self-sufficient. Recently, I've only managed 25% on my own and bought the other 75%. Why? Because I have a heat pump and I have an electric car that consumes a lot. So there you go. I had to buy more from the grid. Without an electric car, you can be more self-sufficient. And the last part is a history of everything I've bought from the grid. So here, we can see that over the past few days, I've bought 25 kilowatts, 100% of what I bought powered my house. I didn't buy anything to put into the battery. That's what I was just telling you earlier. So far, the artificial intelligence hasn't bought during off-peak hours, but it likely will soon. This artificial intelligence mode, which I've been telling you about from the beginning, is one of the biggest features, or at least one of the most interesting ones, in my opinion, of this system. To activate it properly, actually, you can see here we have a little mode box and we can choose the smart mode. This is that famous artificial intelligence mode that knows exactly where we live, that knows the price of our electricity during peak and off-peak hours. It basically knows everything about our electrical system. It will always optimize to keep electricity costs as low as possible. I see, when I look back, it already saved me €215 more than if I hadn't had this optimization. Artificial intelligence. Well, it's interesting to see in the long term. We also have other modes. So you see personal consumption. Here, we don't really have any artificial intelligence functionality as such. The system doesn't know your location or if you have peak or off-peak hours. It simply stores the energy and sends it to your house with the smart meter depending on what you consume. There's a smart plug mode that doesn't require a smart meter. It simply reports the consumption detected by the plugs. In short, you have scheduling modes, you have plenty of options. I'll let you explore a bit, but as for me, I'll stick with the smart mode. My goal is to optimize my energy savings as much as possible with this system. And since we're talking about energy savings, it's high time we talk concretely about how much this system can save us, and especially how much it costs, and therefore how long it takes to pay for itself. Let's go now. Let's see if this it's really worth it to buy this solar kit. If I install the maximum number of panels, so 3,600 peak watts, I should produce about 4,360 kilowatts of electricity each year in my region. You still have to assume that the panels will lose 0.5% of their power per year to reach 80% of their power after 40 years. Let's also take into account that with the SolarBank 3 Pro and 3 additional batteries, so 10.7 kilowatt hours of storage in total, I'll be able to self-consume 90% of what I produce. Agence de l'Environnement et de la Maîtrise de l'Énergie reports electricity prices will rise about 3% annually, reaching 0.25 per kilowatt in 2025. Over 15 years, I should therefore save an average of 1,170 on electricity per year, which amounts to 17,563 after 15 years of the system's lifespan. The SolarBank 3 Pro is 1,799 and a 2,688. The watch battery extension is 1,099. To that, you need to add 8 solar panels of 450W or 7 panels of 500Ws. If I bought the Anker ones, for example, it would cost about 1,600. You would also need to add about 100 for cables and other small accessories. So that brings me to a total of almost 6,800 for the complete system. By the end of year 6, I'll have saved about 7,400 on electricity, more than covering my purchase. The system has a lifespan of 15 years, a 10-year warranty, and becomes profitable after 6 to 7 years. So for me, it's a good investment. My final opinion on this SolarBank 3 Pro is that it's an excellent system. And already, what I really liked was that it was very easy to install, really plug and play. It took me less than 30 minutes to install it. Without the help of a professional, without anyone else's help, I was able to do it all by myself. It connected easily to the app, which is very well designed. By the way, of course, I had a lot of updates because I'm testing a product that just came out, so there are a lot of updates, but overall, no bugs, nothing. And that's not the case with all the systems I've tested on this channel, so that's already a very good point. For me, this SolarBank 3 Pro is really the perfect system for people who want to install up to 3,000 watts of solar panels, which is the maximum you can install without needing an inspection. And for those seeking maximum energy savings, especially with the bi-directional inverter that lets you buy electricity during off-peak hours to optimize using the next day's weather, your production and your consumption. In short, it's the system to save as much as possible without having to get a professional to validate everything. I really want to emphasize this. It's a system designed to maximize your energy savings, but not to be autonomous. You must be connected to the grid for electricity. The system delivers just 1,200 watts, so it's not powerful enough for charging an electric car or using heating systems. But that's not what we're asking for anyway. As for the design, personally, I like it, but tastes and colors are up to each person. You can just leave it outside so you won't see it daily. It's not that important. What I like most about this design is its modular aspect. There are several modules. You can start with 2 and buy more later if you need more storage. However, be careful, don't wait more than a year before buying the other battery extensions. For the simple and good reason that the system needs to have wear that's roughly even. So if you buy other battery packs 5 years later, it could cause problems. Anker suggests buying more packs after a year, which is similar for other battery brands. That's often what's recommended. There you go. I hope this video was interesting and the test helped you see things more clearly. I still suggest you identify your needs to determine which system suits you best. And also see if it interests you from a return on investment point of view, because that's still the main interest. It's to save energy. So take a good look to see if you need it, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them, and I'll see you very soon. For new solar system tests or for tours of eco-friendly houses or for lots of other videos, subscribe so you don't miss them. This was Julian Malara, ciao.